for 181 Huguenot Street. It is a public hearing, and I'll go through the do's and don'ts and the P's and Q's of what that's all about. You're going to turn this on.
Live, and we have audio now. These are additionally copies of the packets that I printed for Tony for you guys.
Thank you.
Online. Are we gonna have, do we still have people online? Or is it
Yes,
just-
we also have people online.
We've got people coming in, so I'm gonna wait here. Okay.
I just want to look at.
The brought these. Emily, you need this.
Is this going
It's
into,
not hard.
where is this going to? Is that going to Redport?
What time zone?
Right here. Is that going to the parking lot?
That's right, Corey.
So they're gonna be connected?
Well, if this is 145, that would be 137.
137.
So they're gonna connect it. They're gonna be, is that normal to connect two properties? I mean, that's, yeah. I'm okay with that.
Didn't require variance. It's up to the planning board whether or not they want to accept it.
And
I like the look of the building.
Isn't that nice? I took a step about that. I'm tired of the building. All right, guys, so what we're gonna do is, I welcome everyone. Just gonna try to keep it somewhat down and just quiet while others are gonna be speaking tonight. I haven't even started the meeting yet. Obviously, there's some people still coming in. Does everybody have enough chairs? Grab a seat. It's gonna be a meeting, that looks like it's gonna be a long one. So, but, I'll speak on it in a second. In the meantime, I just want to welcome everybody to the June 13th, 2023 Village of New Paltz Zoning Board of Appeals meeting. We are now in session. I want to start by asking for a motion to open the public hearing for 137 North Chestnut Street.
motion.
Second. Okay, the 137 North Chestnut Street public hearing is open. Is there anybody here for that meeting, for that variance to discuss it? Okay, the variance is a side yard setback. You live across the street on. Okay, it is a side yard setback. Basically, it's a safety, part of it is for safety. It is to have a wider road. And we actually have the applicant here. And I always like, I'm not afraid to have him say this all. Scott, if you'd like to stand up and introduce yourself to your neighbor. Not too long, Scott, briefly.
Yeah, so there's a little piece of wetland.
All right, would anybody like to come up and, would anybody like to come up and speak toward 137 North Chestnut for or against, either way? Okay, you want me to leave that open for a minute? We don't need to leave that open. Okay. All right, can I get a motion to close 137 North Chestnut?
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I didn't actually vote this time anyway.
We
Okay,
gotta adjourn it.
it's, no, we don't adjourn it. I just closed it.
Oh,
That's it, we just closed it.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so we're closed. All right, real quick, I don't normally stand up. Thank you.
I'm the applicant, Justin Bates from Collier Engineering Design. The referral to county planning, is there a motion to make that referral?
It's done automatically. Right? Do I need to make-
No, you should make a motion to, I didn't know if you were gonna do that now or.
Okay,
later
no,
when
we should
got
do
to
that
the
right away if I haven't already. Can I get a motion to refer this to the county?
Motion.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so it's so moved. It's motion to the county. As soon as it gets back, we'll be able to take a vote. All right, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, I don't normally, this is, hold on,
I make a request that when people are speaking at the podium, they please use microphone.
that's fine. Okay, so this is how a public hearing works, everyone. We have a lot of people here tonight. It is not a debate. No one is being interrupted. If there's questions, you can ask outside. Whether it's for or against, we will not ask questions. We're here to just simply listen to you and take in what you have to say, whether you're for the variance or if you're against the variance. We got a question, right? Yes. Sure. Which board would you like to see this one? Which board? Oh, this board. Oh.
We needed to be close to the table, so we only have one microphone and speaker for the room. So we can move that during the public hearing closer to the, if you want to
How
hand
many
that to
people
Cody,
are
do you mind handing
speaking?
that? Thank you.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Shut your phones off, please. There's no phone, shut your phones off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, I don't like to put a time limit on anybody who's speaking. This meeting will extend into our next session, which is in July, should someone decide to do a half-hour dissertation on how they feel. There'll probably be somewhat of a decorum involved where we'll have to ask you to please, we'd like to get everybody here. Theoretically, in a parliamentary procedure, with everybody here, you can, if I had said 3 minutes, you can all cede your time to the person who's not speaking, to the person who is speaking if you wanted to, and I don't want to go down that road. We have 12 people. I'm going to start with what we have here. And then what we'll do is we'll try to go in order from top row to back, okay? So unless somebody's in a rush. Yes, what's up?
I believe some of the people on Zoom might also want to speak.
We have people on Zoom. Is that
Yes.
official?
So we'll do the room first, then Zoom.
Yes, yes.
What we're gonna look at first here is we're gonna go through letters that are in favor of the use variance for 181 Huguenot Street. We have letters from, thanks. These are the last names of the people, I'm gonna assume, Autumn. Blake family, are they here to speak tonight, by the way? Because if you are here to speak tonight, I really won't need to go through what you've written. The Blake family has written a letter in favor of this variance. The Brooks family, are they here? They have also written a letter in favor. I have one here. I happen to have Molly Brooks in front of me. We live at 102 Huguenot Street. We write in support of the Arbor Vitae School of Traditional Herbalism's request. So they are in favor of it. Just so we're going to put that into the record. Everything I'm announcing, just put into the record on them. Okay. This was the Blake one, which is again along the same line. We lived here 10 years. It's a beautiful farm. They feel that it's a benefit because they can develop the land there. And they like the people who are there right now very, very much. I'm paraphrasing only because we have a lot to go through. And these will all be put into the record. Our group already has copies of them and we have read them. L33, 135 Huguenot. Is that an email address? Yeah, I have her in front of me. Is she here? Would you like to speak tonight? Okay, I'm gonna not read then, and you'll just come up and speak. Would you like this back so you can read from it if you like? That'll just save us time. You do it that way. Okay, we have another one from the Cather Strauss, 143 Huguenot, who's in favor. You're here tonight too? Terrific. Would you like it back to read tonight, or you feel more comfortable reading it? Okay, I don't know which email here is going to be yours. Oh, which one do you have with it?
Yeah,
You got it right off the top. Okay, Meyer, is that correct? It's M-A-Y-R. Terrible with names. You should see mine. Is she here tonight? She has written a letter in favor. That's his last name, by the way, Gabriella. She has written that she has lived on Henry Court off of Huguenot Street for almost the last 2 years. They've had monthly block parties, attended dozens of events. They want to welcome their new neighbors. They feel very confident that they'll be an asset to the community. Would anyone rather that property be run as a stinking hog farm or a chicken farm? Would that meet the requirements for use of that property? And also, what kind of traditional farmer could possibly afford the rent or purchase price of that property? Anyone with that kind of money would not be the type to milk cows at 4 in the morning or slaughter a hog before first frost. So please adjust your zoning rules to allow for Arbor Vitae. Pronounce that properly for me. Vitae, I am saying it right. Okay, I have a bit of a New York accent if you haven't realized, so I can butcher any word many times over. Arbor Vitae's continued residents of that site, because what the world needs more than ever are enterprises just like this. That'll be in the record as well. I have Renee Scuba. Is she here tonight? She talks about the school's commitment to the well-being of our residents is evident through the provision of their free community clinics. So they do offer free community clinics and training to health practitioners. I'm imagining much of this stuff will come up as you all speak. I'm just trying to pick through the parts when I read this earlier to what I thought was interesting. Working with natural resources, the school has placed an emphasis on that, which we consider very important here in New Paltz. She respectfully would like us to grant the necessary permissions for this school to continue to operate at 181 Huguenot Street. Rosemary, is Rosemary here tonight? That's Salden Pawson. They live right across the street from the school. They request that it continues to run. They've been a very, Arbor Vitae has been a very welcoming neighbor. I guess you've been incredibly civic oriented in relating to the fellow residents in the area. So the residents have noted that and they have written accordingly. Okay, stated, and you've also reached out to these people as well, from what I can see here, because you've been quoted to what you're looking to do with the land. And this is in favor, Rosemary Salden Pawson. We also have Gardens for Nutrition, and they're a non-community nonprofit. The board, yeah, it's a board. Okay, I don't know them. Oh, I do know them. Okay, that's the farm. Respectfully, officer comments support the applicant's request for a variance. It's protected by a conservation easement held by the Wallkill Valley Land Trust, who is also another supporter. They're not seeking a general commercial use of the property. I can't comment on that, but okay, or for any kind of school, but specifically for an agricultural land plant-based school. It's also just more saying kind of what we looked at here. We have something from the Wallkill Valley Land Trust, and I'll read what they highlighted. Arbor Vitae contacted the WVLT, and that's the Wallkill Valley Land Trust, in April 2023, asking about potential uses of the chicken coop, which is in the town of New Paltz, it's the village New Paltz, but for herb instruction and agricultural educational activities. The chicken coop structure can be used for agricultural purposes, which include education. Agricultural use is permitted in the conservation easement. This came from the executive director, Christy DeBoa, and it was dated June 12, 2023. Okay, we have some really long ones here, which I'm not going to read. I'm going to put them into the record, though. Lexi Burko is a third-year student who wrote a small term paper on it. So very well written. I read it earlier, but nothing else. I will say this. I'll read this part, which I thought stood out, which is, speaking of beautiful, the farmstead is a showstopper, just absolutely gorgeous. And I can think of nothing more beautiful than a bunch of plants to accompany the land. One thing herbalists love, along with so many others, are flowers. Who wouldn't want to admire lush gardens, which will not only attract fellow humans, but butterflies, bees, and many other native insects, animals, and birds. And to be youthful with the idealism that it comes with. Okay, and that's not meant sarcastically. I really do long for that. We have another one from Sophia De Andrade. She's also at the school. She's a student and obviously speaks very highly of her experience there, and for that to continue for other students like herself to enjoy it. You guys want to take a couple of these?
Sure.
Let everybody go ahead and read.
Okay. My name is Francis Balkin. I'm from Berkshire County, spent more time. This area is near to my heart. I'm grateful to have found the reader in Domo in 2021. I'm even more grateful when the school decides to move state. This is the type of community I always want to be a part of. Arbor is the only school I've been part of where the teachers are not there to punish or to grade us, but to instead support us and guide us. And that's thank you for hearing our thoughts.
Make sure.
Ravencrest Botanicals, to my concern. I'm the the owner of Ravencrest Botanicals, a medicinal herb farm. I've been guest teachers at Arbor Vita School of Traditional Herbalism since 2017. One of the courses I teach is from symptom medicine. The curriculum includes related to farming and growing medical herbs, propagation, greenhouse maintenance, solar, a whole bunch of stuff, mulching. I strongly propose that Arbor Vita may remain in their current location in New Paltz, and that's everything. Everything there is pretty much it.
It's Samuel Perry.
So
Make sure
Perry,
it's in the record.
are you here, Samuel Perry? Okay,
Okay.
okay, so
Yeah, we'll get-
we'll do.
I'm just
so we'll
gonna
let
go
you
through
talk
this.
through the-
If you'd like to
Steps
talk, you
away.
can speak as well. I don't have a microphone.
There's no microphone in here.
If you,
It's recorded and online.
The microphone is here and it's just to go to the Zoom.
if you have a problem hearing us, you can take a chair up here if you want to move it a little further back. We'll try to speak a little louder. I can speak loud, don't worry.
Richard Mandelbaum on Zoom.
All right,
So I'm not sure if he'll want to read this or not, but I'll just kind of, one of the things that set it apart from some of the other letters is that he's an instructor. And so he speaks on the positive experiences that he's seen students go through.
Okay.
And how.
Does it say how long he's taught there?
I don't believe this does. I don't recall.
All right, we don't ask questions. That's why I asked if it was in here. So
Yeah.
luckily he can hear me, yes.
And I am
It's on this.
not going to do great with his name, so I apologize in advance. Nasha Camacho? Nasha Camacho is also on Zoom? Okay, so I'll do the same thing. She's a graduate, so a lot of the same information in support. And speaks of the connection to the area and the positivity.
Okay. I have two, that, we'll get into the Zoom in just a second. How many people do we have on Zoom? 9. All right, can they message you? I'm curious of how many of them want to speak. Okay. It's kind of interesting before I read these, you know, when you're online and the phone rings and the clerk takes the person who called when you're online for a half hour. Should we do that with the Zoom people? Should I allow them to go ahead and start them first while you guys are all here? I don't know. It's a tough one to go through. All right, we have 2 that are against this application. What's your name? I saw it. I thought we mentioned, didn't you put that? just-
Oh, yeah, I thought that was the one that you had read, the third year student. Wait,
Okay, no, I guess.
okay,
it
I
wasn't.
must, I apologize.
This is it. No. It's okay.
Yeah,
Here you go.
yeah. You're going to speak though, correct? Okay.
Would you like that back? Okay, I'll read the short one first by Judith Garon, 156 Huguenot. Are they here tonight? Would you like me to read this or would you like to come up? You plan to speak? Okay, I'm going to give that back to her. And is Patrick and Lorraine O'Donnell here tonight? Okay, they're not. Well, we got slides now. Okay, so real quickly, I'll summarize Patrick and Lorraine O'Donnell. They feel that this hardship is not unique to this property. There's other properties on the street, including those residents that border the farm. They would need to seek a similar variance to accomplish what is being requested. This variance will alter the essential character of the neighborhood. There's insufficient parking. It would create a parking lot, would be inconsistent to the residential character of the street. It's unrealistic to expect that customers will walk a half a mile. Multiple occasions. 20 to 25 cars have been parked on the grass to what this couple has stated. Okay, the hardship has been self-created. In addition to the concerns detailed above, please note, we did not receive an individual public notice regarding this application or hearing through the mail. The only reason we learned of this ZBA application was due to an individual circulating a paper petition. Absolutely.
It's beyond the 200 feet.
Okay.
Right, and it's,
If they're listening, that's fine. You're beyond the 200 feet, and that's only required up until that distance. We have petitions. I'll feel the need to bring up real quickly. 43, these are in favor. Am I correct with that? Let's say- Yes, we have 43, and then neighbors 2. What's the neighbors 2?
So there are sheets. All in favor, total count of 53 names and then another
Okay,
20.
another 20. So 76 people have signed. There was a digital petition of 233 signatures. And then there was a second petition. These are all in favor for 239 as well. And the Gardens of Nutrition folks had 15 people sign. So I think that will be all in the record. Can we bring the Zoom people up very quickly? Oh, you're right. We don't have a public hearing yet. I needed to do that, I think, before. Should I make a motion? I just read all that? No, I gotta do it again. No, I'm just kidding. I don't have to do it again. Can I get a motion to open the public hearing for 181 Huguenot Street?
Motion.
Second,
Seconded.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. See that? How you've maddened me, people. And flustered. All right, so I guess I could read that stuff ahead of time anyway, rather than have them speak. So the speaking portion of it is really the public hearing. Can we bring up the people on Zoom?
Jasmine Romero has her hand up.
All right, real quickly, I want everybody to understand that this is not a debate on Zoom. How many people plan to speak on Zoom right now? Please raise your hand. 2, 3, 4. Everyone.
Yeah.
All right. So we have everybody wants to speak. I will alternate back and forth between Zoom and here, to be fair. All right. Thank you. All right. So let's start with who is here. First of all, can someone just speak real quick on Zoom? I want to see how we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
That's perfect. Can the room hear you? Okay, so we're good to go there. Again, before we get started, this is not a debate. You can come up, you speak your mind, you say what you need to say, and then you sit back down. It's not an engage in a debate. If it gets heated, I'll ask you to quiet down. If you don't quiet down, I'll ask you to leave. If you don't leave, I'll have you escorted out. Okay, no, that's not to be laughed at. This is a civic function, and we want to keep our decorum about ourselves and handle ourselves like adults. And I've seen these things degenerate into basically a rowdy mob. And I always swore if I had a meeting, it was not going to be like that. So let's start in the first row. Who would like to come up? See, geography has its advantages. If you came and sat in the front row, you'd be going first. State your name, please, and then if you give me a ballpark to how long you'd like to speak, you don't have to, but it'd be appreciative, just so I just monitor the time to how we go.
Yeah, a minute or two.
Great. Just speak loudly so everybody can hear you, and we'll listen to you as intently as we can.
My name is Jeff Noel. I live on Huguenot Street and have for over 20 years now. I am against a variance, particularly permanent variance. The reason for that is this was part of the Two Farms campaign. And the intent was to maintain that area for agricultural use. I certainly, the people who occupy and are running this organization now are very nice people. I am very concerned, however, the long-term impacts of making a variance from what originally was, I mean, the neighborhood at that time, the people that were there, put their own personal funds into it to maintain it as agriculture use. I do not feel that running it as a school is an agricultural use. So therefore, I oppose the variance.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Let's take somebody on Zoom, please. Just wait for the applicant, the person who spoke to sit down.
I would like to know when the person lives,
Yeah, ask them to stay there.
state where they are.
Yeah,
get
sure.
Their address.
Jeff,
just so we
he's,
can
I thought he
keep
stayed
you-
with his address.
He did,
I
but
think he's worried about Zoom.
I'm worried about Zoom. He could be in California. I want to know where they live.
Oh, fair enough. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. All right, let's take the first person on Zoom, and I guess I'll pick it in alphabetical order. Sorry again, if you, last name is Zakowski.
So that would be Alana Burns.
All right, so Alana Burns, please.
Can you hear me?
I can, Alana. Alana, please state your name again and where you live.
My name is Alana Burns and I live in upstate New York. And
What town, hon?
Bern, New York.
Burn, okay. Thank you. How long do you plan to speak for? Do you feel it'll be a long statement or a short statement?
A short statement.
Okay, if it's a long one, that's fine. I'm just trying to, like I said, I don't want to feel anybody feel pressured that they have to rush. Okay, Alana, I would love to hear what you have to say.
Gosh, so I have been a student at Arbor Vitae for 2 years and I'm entering into my 3rd year. And like many of our fellow students have also shared, it has been a transformational experience for me. I have been farming for about 10 years, and I have been primarily growing mixed vegetables and just now getting into cultivating herbs over the last couple years. And my studies at Arbor Vitae have just tremendously deepened my ability to personally engage with this sorry, I'm a little nervous. Yeah, this experience has been just profoundly meaningful to me. And before my studies, I had some experience working with plants, but through the generosity of my teachers and the encouragement of my fellow students, and truly one of the most supportive and nurturing and generative environments that I've had the grace of participating in. This has really offered me a foundation in the world that I have really rarely found anywhere else. And so the school's intentions to steward new generations of practitioners that are able to take this knowledge out into the world and help to heal land and help to heal people and bring deeper awareness to the importance that we have as individuals to take care of this earth and to take care of each other. This is a message and an offering that few other places are so deeply equipped to offer. And so as somebody that has worked land for many years and has had my own deep connections in stewarding and tending land and offering good quality, nourishing food to people, taking this next step in my journey as a farmer to learn more about medicinal herbs, how they can help people, how I can best tend to them. This has been one of the most profound opportunities for me. And so the variance that Arbor Vitae is seeking in order to help steward a new generation of people that can connect with land and to share this with others seems perfectly in alignment with the values that this community of New Paltz is looking to uphold. And in addition to the support for this particular piece of land, this beautiful farm that we have all had the opportunity to learn from and to be on, it is really a benefit for the town. I have had the opportunity to connect with many of the local businesses in town, when I would come to school, I'd buy my groceries at the natural food store, and got my car fixed at the local auto mechanic. So not only has the school itself on the land itself been able to offer that, it has also connected me to a lot of places in the area for which I've been able to support. So I'm not a big public speaker. It's a really big stretch for me to come up here and speak in front of you, but I am so passionate about this place and really the land itself that we have had the opportunity to continue our studies on, that I felt compelled to say something. So thank you for the time, and I appreciate you holding space for this. So thank you.
Thank you, Ilana. All right, so let's go back to who's here live. Everybody in the first row, has anybody come on up? State your name, where you live, if you live in the village. You don't have to say, if you're a village resident, you can just say I'm a village resident. And if you want to be more specific and say you're in Huguenot Street, that's fine as well. And just a ballpark to what you think, how long you'll speak for.
Yeah, my name is Samuel Perry. I live in Albany, New York. I will speak no longer than necessary, and I'll try to keep it brief. I am a core instructor at the school. I am also a registered herbalist in the American Herbalist Guild, and currently the vice president of the American Herbalist Guild, which is a national organization. I wanted to talk today about the role of education in farming, because I think that that's a place where we might be getting confused. Education versus commercial use. So I would like to speak about the importance of education in farming in my point of view as a teacher. So what I teach at this school, it's varied. I help supervise the student clinic. I teach a variety of classes, but everything I do is focused on emphasizing the history of American herbalism. And the history of American herbalism includes settlers who come from Europe, like the Huguenots who came here as refugees to settle along the Wallkill. It also includes the indigenous people who were displaced, the Lenape, whose land we are on. It also includes the enslaved Africans who worked this land, and as we all know, are buried, many of them along Huguenot Street. And what all of those people have in common, they use plants for medicine and food. Their bones are in this soil. All of these people didn't just suddenly know how to use plants for medicine. They were taught by their ancestors, and that's been carried like a seed, generation by generation by generation. You cannot have farming without education. And I don't want us to get confused that if it's a school, it's not agricultural use. Agricultural use is learning from our elders and moving it forward. I wanted to just share an example of something that I think would be helpful to understand. One of the wonderful classes that's offered at this school is taught by our dear teacher, Claudia Keel. And she teaches a class about fermentation. Many of you know what it is when we say a pickle. A pickle. Yeah. Right? Okay. So we have a pickle. You can go to the grocery store and you can buy a pickle. It's going to be preserved in vinegar. The vinegar is going to preserve that vegetable for a time. What Claudia has taught, my teacher, and what I have taught my students as this moves along is that the traditional way that farmers have always known is if you lacto ferment that vegetable, not only is it preserved, the living culture can be added to the next harvest. It goes forward. It goes on. If you just preserve a building and you say, we want to have a historical farm, you're going to have an echo. You're going to have a memory. It's like a ghost. History didn't go anywhere. We're right here. We're standing right in front of you. This is a living tradition. And the only reason it's a living tradition is because it's passed along, heart to heart, teacher to teacher. And so for that farm to actually be useful, not just to be an idea of a farm, a ghost that's just haunting your village, it has to actually raise farmers, not just food. It actually has to raise herbalists, not just herbs. And this is an intrinsic part of farming, is education. You cannot separate the two. If you go to Main Street, that giant Walgreens that's up there, you can buy cough syrup. And it'll be cherry flavored cough syrup. That cherry is like the ghost I'm talking about. Why is it flavored cherry? It's because our old teachers, they know that wild cherry medicine of the bark of that tree is cough syrup. What they're selling at the big old Main Street big building, that's commercial use, Walgreens. That's the ghost of a medicine. That's a chemical cough suppressant with cherry flavor. The living cherry trees behind the building on that beautiful land on Huguenot Street, those are medicine when you have people there who know that that's medicine, who know how to make that into cough medicine. And maybe some of us will get a cough. And maybe some of us will need not just the medicine, but someone who knows how to use it. So what we're doing is we're teaching people how to move this forward. And that's an intrinsic part, not just of education, but of farming itself. Otherwise, you're just going to import someone who's going to buy that land and they'll have a beautiful place. And I understand the concerns. I absolutely understand the concerns about parking and the amount of people and all. We can work on that. We can make that happen. You have, like, I just humbly and respectfully, you couldn't find a better partner in working with what we actually all want to do, is preserve something that's living. It's alive. We're here. It's a living tradition. Those are living plants. That's a living river. And these are living herbalists. And we're going to make more. So work with us, please, and help us do this. Thank you for your time and for holding this.
Thank you, Sam. Pardon me. Everybody has a right to speak. All right, can we go to who's on the Zoom call? Yeah, it just makes it easy. I can make them less for it.
Their hand up, the first list.
Okay, let's bring them up. Ari, would you like to speak? Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Hi, can you hear me?
State your name and where you live.
My name is Ari and I live in Yonkers, New York. I've been attending the school for 2 years now, going on my third year. And all I really want to say is that if there's any worried about anybody preserving anything, as far as herbalists go, we won't even touch a plant without asking for its permission first. The change that it's had in my life, I've been able to grow and be able to tap into things that I never even knew existed, such as cultivating the land and doing all these beautiful things. And also, I'm passing that down to my children. I have a 4-year-old and a 13-year-old. And just from seeing what I've been learning at this school, they're now into cultivating the earth as well. I started a little garden over here, and my girls, not only do they know how to water and how to prepare the soil, but now they're starting to think how all of these plants and these herbs work as far as medicine goes. I travel up to New Paltz once a month for the weekend, and everything that I do there. I buy my lunch there. I get my gas there. I've also been talking to other people about, hey, let's take a weekend trip up to New Paltz. It's such a great town. I've spent time there outside of the school as well, going to the shops and the local stores. It's it's a great way to also bring more knowledge and awareness to the town of New Paltz and all of its historic contributions that we have for it. That's really all I want to say, is that this is actually an asset. The herbalists there, they take pride in preserving and making sure that everything is up to its code as far as preserving the historical content of the land. Only great things are going to come from it. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Ari. All right, so let's go into the next row. We'll go right to left. Okay, so we'll start on this end this time and we'll work our way across. No, they're the applicant.
Oh.
Which you can't talk, because they're not on the agenda.
Okay.
Lisa and Noel, I live on 160.
Noel, what's your first name?
Andrea.
Andrea. And you're a local resident?
I am on Huguenot Street. And I'd like to say clearly, it sounds like this school is a valuable school. And New Paltz would be a wonderful community for the school. However, Huguenot Street in the Two Farms area is just not an appropriate place for the school to be. So I would welcome it to New Paltz, but I would like to speak strongly against a variance. And I have with me here actually one of the original brochures. So I noticed that a lot of the people who signed the petitions, and also quite a few people, not everybody's who is speaking, were actually at the time here living on Huguenot Street or even in New Paltz when the Two Farms campaign was going on. We were living here, and my family and I made actually a substantial contribution to the Two Farms campaign. There were also at the time all kinds of benefit concerts, all kinds of activities to raise money so that these two farms could continue. And I have here one of the original brochures. Pete Seeger was actually even at this event. And I'm just going to quote, "The owners of these two farms have agreed to enter into land protections agreements that will guarantee these properties will be used permanently for agricultural production." That's what it says in this brochure, and that's why my family and I gave a large donation to that Two Farm campaigns. So I think there's maybe a lack of understanding of what the original Two Farm campaigns was, and that maybe some of the people who are making some comments, I don't know, I would just ask to be open-minded to what was this campaign? What was the original reason for it? Who contributed to it, and why did we contribute it? Clearly, it puts in jeopardy all of the environmental campaigns anywhere. If people are told that there's a clear message of why we donate, and then that is changed. And a school, I understand the argument that the instructor has made. It's not that concrete for me that agricultural is the same thing as a school, particularly if there were a variance that changed it for good. Then we have a lot of different schools that we could really have here, right? We could have a private school when everybody is not here anymore. We could have part of a university. And we could have all kinds of different things. So, excuse me for just a second while I check my notes. So I guess I'll just sum up by saying, please remember the original reason for the Two Farms campaign, the damage that you might do if you change this to future collections, to future donations that people are willing to make for these kinds of things. And to just really keep that in mind, and please invite this school to another location in New Paltz. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Adriana. All right, let's go back to the Zoom. Janice, can you hear us?
I can hear you. And my video is stopped because of the host, but you can,
It's okay.
you can
We can
video
hear you
me if
fine.
you'd like.
Real
Excellent.
quick, Terrific. Can you just state your full name or your first name, where you live?
Okay,
And
I'm just doing my start. Hi.
oh, there
Hi,
you're back.
everybody. Yes, it's Janice Novette, and I live in Pleasant Valley, and I toggle between Pleasant Valley and the hamlet of Wallkill. And I spend a lot of time on the rail trail, passing right by Huguenot Street. I am a graduate of the Arbor Vitae School of Traditional Herbalism. But I also and I will be brief, because I really feel there is an analogy between a historical site and the education that goes on there, and this site as an agricultural site and the education that will go on there. And if you hold that analogy in mind, it just makes sense that if you have a historical place like FDR or any of the others, you would be teaching. And here you have an agricultural site, and what do? You teach people. So especially in New Paltz, the land of the State University of New York, it's about education. And I cannot speak more strongly about how well the school will cherish the location and keep in mind the importance of just teaching about how important these plants are. And I hope you vote to allow them to stay. So thank you. And thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Janice. I appreciate it. So let's go back to the people who are here.
Hi there. I live on Huguenot Street at 156. I've lived there for almost 25 years. And I probably made
Real quick. What's your name?
Judy Garon,
Hi,
sorry.
Judy. That's okay.
I probably was the first person to make a contribution to the Two Farms campaign, and I made a large challenge grant. And I made it thinking that this was really important to preserving the nature of our community. And it was worth it, therefore. And I was insured, and I did it for open space and farming. We were insured at that time that these properties will, in perpetuity, always be agricultural and preserve open space. There was no mention, as these funds were raised, and I agree with Andrea that they were raised for a purpose, that we were involved in education, in schools, and it is the issue of a slippery slope. As I said in the letter that I wrote to you, I don't have any strong views on the continuing residents on the street of this school. I don't know it well enough, and I have sort of neutral views of them. They seem to be quiet neighbors. I have noticed when there were a lot of cars there, but that's not really my point. I strongly oppose any outcome of this that would grant any kind of permanent variance or zoning for a school undefined. And I worry that this can be a slippery slope. You let this school there, it's just renting some space from someone, it can be gone in a year. And then you have, the agricultural department of some university saying they are involved in agriculture too. And before you know it, you have changed a residential street into a very different street. And we put up money to preserve a residential and farming community, the last two farms in the community, I think in the village of New Paltz. So it was protected for agricultural use, and letting schools into this in the future would, I think, create a dangerous precedent and be inconsistent with our residential neighborhood. And I'll leave the letter with you.
Thank you, Judy.
Right up.
Thank you. Let's go back to Zoom, please. Hello, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Just state your name and where you're from.
Sure. My name's Lexi Burko, and I live in Hyde Park, New York. So I am a third-year student at Arbor Vitae, and like I said, I live across the river, and I've been in agriculture since 2012, and I've been farming in the Hudson Valley since 2015. I also am the owner and operator of Wildly Farm, where we raise sheep and rabbits for meat and fiber. In addition to working in the field, I am beyond fortunate to have found and been accepted to this school. It's been beyond impactful that before the move to New Paltz, I was prepared to make the long commute to Brooklyn. And I just am in favor of the school continuing at Huguenot Street, and the location could not be more fitting for a school like this. The one thing I'm sure you'll hear over and over about Herbalist is we do not move with a heavy hand. From working with clients to working with the land, nothing is done without full analysis of the situation beforehand. Populations are observed before harvest is done, and we operate with sustainability as the bare minimum and aim to work with nature in a regenerative way as the ultimate goal. These principles will not only protect but enhance the Jewett farmstead if allowed to continue. I feel privileged to learn in such an incredible house on the historic Huguenot Street. In 1 year, we've already served the community, and my first client in the clinic lives right down the road. With the opportunity to continue there, I can only imagine the possibilities to continue to foster the surrounding community. With access to such a property, the school can continue to serve the community with the free herbal clinic, but will also have the potential to grow herbs to accompany the clinic and further serve the community with locally grown herbs. This last weekend, I attended the International Herbal Consortium and attended a talk from the farmers of Healing Spirits Farms in Western New York, who have been growing herbs for the past 40 years. And they emphasized the growing and continued need for herb growers. Farms are becoming far and few between, and many people don't even get the experience and joy of visiting a farm. The more students who have access to the agrarian values, the properties such as the Jewett farmstead can be fully utilized with budding herbalists who will not only make the environment more beautiful, but will also nourish fellow neighbors. Speaking of beautiful, you read this, flowers are more than beauty. And, they're absolutely gorgeous. And there's nothing more than having gardens, which are not just for, visual appearance, but that can be a profitable farm business. Who wouldn't want to have gardens on that street? And I challenge that people who want to go to gardens are happy to walk 25 minutes to get there. It was so great to come to Arbor Vitae and see that they are teaching principles of organic, sustainable, and even biodynamic agriculture in the curriculum. Coming into this program as a farmer, it was so reassuring to know that so many people were being provided with this critical information about how to keep our food and herbal medicine free from GMOs, as well as other toxic compounds being produced industrially. Once you learn the horrors which occur in our food system, it's hard to turn a blind eye. This school is showing people the way forward, and what better way to have a canvas to demonstrate these skills to students. There are no cons to allowing people to get their hands into the soil and allowing those deeply called to the land to return. I appreciate your time and consideration and have my fingers crossed very tightly that my beloved school will be allowed to continue to grow at the Jewett farm stand. During our school weekends, I always say a silent hello to the spirit named Warren, the old farmer who used to live in that historic farmhouse. While we are all here today to continue to consider the future of the Jewett farm stand, let's also remember to consider the past of this property. And I'm sure the old farmer Warren would be thrilled to see the next generation of budding herbalists pouring their love into the fields, as I'm sure he once did. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Lexi. Okay, let's bring up the next one live, please.
My name is Judy Mage, and I live at 171 Huguenot Street, right behind the small historic cemetery. And that's now protected by the village. I bought my house back in 1979 when my son was just 7 years old. I'm the last house going north whose backyard is directly